And good morning, everyone. It is Donna Gray here, your Stampin' Up demonstrator from the scenic rim in Queensland. Lovely to be joining you live once again for another one of my Santa's Workshop 12 Days of Christmas projects. So I've got a super cute card today, and I've got a technique that you may not have thought about doing, but I'm sure that you are going to fall in love with this technique today. So good morning, hello, welcome everyone. Um, Lovely to see you all. So I've been doing a Santa's workshop for the next 12 days. I will be doing a live video 12 working days, not weekend days. I will be doing a project every day in my 12 days of Christmas Santa's workshop that I'm holding at the moment. Now, the best part about this is a little bit different to my normal 12 days of Christmas projects. You can actually earn the kit for free. So it's super exciting that you're able to place a qualifying order to be able to earn your kit for free of my 12 projects. So I'm creating 12 gorgeous Christmas cards during this 12 days of Christmas, and you will be able to earn a free kit by placing an order using that host code. You can scan that QR code there on the screen to go over to my online store, or you can use the link in the description of this video. But you must place an order of $150 or more retail using that host code, and it must be between the dates of the 11th of November through to Tuesday, the 26th of November. I may have to add an extra day of that special on, because I'm thinking I may not be able to go live on Tuesday next week because we had a family friend pass away, and I unfortunately have to head back home to a funeral. Not something that any of us like doing, and especially this time leading up towards Christmas. But so I may not be around on the Tuesday morning, but I will let you know if I'm going to miss Tuesday morning. So I'm going live at 9 a.m. every morning. So all this week, all next week, and 2 days of the week after, creating some gorgeous Christmas projects using some of our beautiful products out of our mini catalog. Thank you, Matthew. So I have got a really fun special project this morning using heat embossing. Who loves heat embossing? Who at Christmas time absolutely loves silver and gold and copper embossing? I think you're going to love this project this morning. Well, I hope it's going to turn out. I mean, I'm just playing around. I seen something on the internet and thought, oh, that's lovely. I'm going to try that. So thank you, Siobhan. Thanks, Janice. So I have got a great project this morning using, well, I did say Season of Elegance, but I'm actually not, sorry, I did say Peaceful Evergreens, but I'm actually not going to use that stamp set. Or I could get the stamp set out. I might do something on the inside. There's food for thought. I'm still, the jury's out on what exactly I'm doing. Thanks, Nancy. So I've got a gorgeous embossing folder. I've got some gold Wow embossing powder. Who has used the new Wow embossing powders that Stampin' Up have now? So we have changed our embossing powders. We have now updated, and we're now keeping the Wow brand of embossing powder. And I can tell you, it definitely has that wow factor. I'm like, oh, this is so awesome, this new embossing. It just seems more vibrant and more, the gold is so gold, it's so vibrant. So I'm actually going to showcase that brand new type of embossing powder that we have, but we're also going to be using an embossing folder and some Versamark, and we're going to have a little bit of fun with some embossing. So welcome. I'm just giving a few minutes for everyone to jump in. Thank you, Maureen, for your words. It's always more difficult, Maureen, I do believe, around Christmas time. So it's actually a family friend. We grew up, they were neighbors across the road. So and actually the daughter is my sister's best friend. So one of those things, unfortunately, I think we're all getting to that age when you get older, It seems to be what seems to be happening. You're using up what you have till you order the new embossing powder. I can tell you, Patricia, when you get the new stuff, you're gonna love it. I'm telling you, you're gonna love it. I was like, oh, how can it be so different to the normal embossing powder we have? But wow, it is definitely wow. It definitely has the wow factor. It's definitely gorgeous. So we were talking yesterday about what our favorite combinations are when it comes to our Christmas crafting, what our favorite combinations are. And I'm actually going to use one of those combinations today. So I'm actually going to use cherry cobbler and gold is going to be my cobbler, my combination. My is going to be my combination today. I've got cherry cobbler on my brain because I love cherry cobbler. When it comes to Christmas crafting, for a red, I always choose cherry cobbler. I know that we have real red, but I choose cherry cobbler. I just think it's a deeper, richer red. So who agrees? Type into the comment. Are you a real red person or are you a cherry cobbler person? Because I know I'm definitely a cherry cobbler person. All right. So while we're waiting for people to jump on, I just wanted to let you know our seasonal sale has gone live today. So the seasonal sale is 10% off ink pads, 10% off cardstock, 20% off bundles, and 20% off DSP that is out of the annual catalog. If it is an online exclusive or if it is out of our September to December mini catalog, there will be no reduction on it. But if it is from the annual catalog, you will get a reduction on it. So I have placed a large order this morning of things that I needed. So I made sure that I jumped on and made use of it. And I will probably be placing another couple of orders coming in the next couple of days. So this seasonal sale runs from today, the 13th of November, through to the 15th of November. So for anyone that is a demonstrator, I know that I've had a couple of questions asked in my team page this morning. We get to view the mini catalog tomorrow. So there was a mistake in the date of when they did say the 13th, but we will be viewing the mini catalog tomorrow at 7 a.m. Now, my thought process is if you have some things that you want to order from the seasonal sale, if you want to be able to order from our brand new celebration catalog come starting January, now is a perfect time to join. So you can actually use the seasonal sale, pop some of the things of the seasonal sale into your starter kit, and you can also enjoy seeing the mini catalog online tomorrow. If you join today, you will see the new mini catalog online tomorrow. We get a digital version tomorrow. And we get to pre-order out of that mini catalog on the 19th of November. I'm hoping I'm correct in that. So if you love celebration time, if you love purchasing Stampin' Up products, if you love sales, now is definitely the time to join my Wild Heart Crafters community. So I'm just going to pop my joining link up there because everyone says, how do I join? Now, you don't just place an order online and think that you've joined Stampin' Up. So you physically have to use a joining link, and it's really, really important who you join with. I need to say, I am #1 demonstrator in Australia. So if you want to be in a part of the leading top team in Australia, because I lead a wonderful team of demonstrators all over Australia, which is really, really fantastic. We have a great crafty community. If you want to feel like you want to belong, you want to get a discount on your products, you want to get the best value for money, then by all means, please feel free to to join my Wild Heart Crafters team. So Daryl's in my team, and Daryl said, I've done some damage on my credit card this morning because we are. So what actually happens is with those discounted prices, we as demonstrators get our discount on top of those discounted prices. So the things that are reduced at 10%, we get, well, some of us get an extra 20%. So you would get 30% off it. Some of us get 25%. So you would get an extra 35%. So the things that are reduced 20%, we are either going to get 40% off that or 45% off that, depending on what level you are. So I'm telling you, the best way to buy your Stampin' Up products is definitely to join my Wild Heart Crafters team. Now, I need to say, a lot of people say, but I'm not local to you. Now, I can tell you, this was my story when I originally joined. I joined someone that was local. And even though I joined someone that was local, that didn't help me as far as the support that I needed for my Stampin' Up journey. So as it turned out, I didn't, and it wasn't her fault. She was just a hobby demonstrator, and I joined because she was in town, and it just so happened that I knew that she was in town. So I went and joined her, didn't really know her. But then after I joined, and along a fair way down the track, when I was already at Silver Elite, I realized that I joined a team leader that really didn't support me. So it's really, really important to make sure that you join under the right person, and it is totally your choice. So just because someone says, no, you should join under someone local, that is not true, because that someone local may not support you in the way you want to be supported. Now, everybody that's on my team, give a shout out. Are you feeling like you're supported even though you don't live locally to me? So Julie's saying you should 100%, you should get 100%. Oh, are you saying I should get 100% because I'm #1 demonstrator in Australia? I would love 100%. I would love for people to give me product, but it's okay. I mean, it's my business, so it's all tax deductible, isn't it? Isn't it nice to be able to say that my crafting products is a tax deduction? It is classified as stock. So and Glenda's in Western Australia, and Glenda's in my team. She gets supported. So Kathy. Now, Kathy hasn't been in my team for a while. She said, Donna is the best. I was in her team. I just want to show that. I love when people say things like this. But unfortunately had to drop, but hasn't stopped me from watching or keeping in contact with Donna and a lot of crafty people I met along the way of 3 years. Exactly. So you're going to get to meet lots of people. Julie, there we go. Best team ever. Yes. Okay. Daryl, I'm happy with my decision and feel supported. Kerry, I feel very supported and love being a part of this team. Thank you. Deborah, I am supported. There you go. Um, Jill, oh yes, you support me 100%. I love hearing that. So what I'm saying is, if you want help with your crafting, if you want to feel a part of this awesome team, you can see all of these people here chatting away out of my team, saying how wonderful it is. And even Kathy, who isn't in my team anymore, still feeling like she has the friendship with me and the support anyway. So by all means, feel free. This is a fantastic time to join, I'm telling you, with that seasonal sale, with the fact that we can see the online catalog tomorrow, with the fact that that we have the pre-order coming up next week for the mini catalog. Kathy's saying again, believe me, when I joined, I had no clue in what I was doing and wasn't arty crafty at all, but learned a lot. And that is what it's about, being a part of a team and being able to have help and guidance along the way. I always say you can go into a retail store, you can grab a stamp set or a bundle off the shelf, you can take it home, but if there's not someone that is supporting you and teaching you how to use that product, will you be likely to use that product? Some people, yes. Some people, definitely not. Oh, look, Ellen's saying, I wish I could be in her team, but I'm in Pennsylvania, USA. Love my videos. Thank you. Ruth is saying, I feel like I've known you for years as we joined around the same time originally. Exactly. So the fact is, I tend to have that friendship with all demos across the world. Like, I love being friends. And Ruth saying, even though she's dropped, she still loves to watch my videos. So I'm telling you, great way to buy your product. Anyway, let's get off that situation and let's move on to my Scrap It With Me workshop. So these are actually like a subscription club. So of course it's closed for this month, but I will be doing another one for next month. It is $95 to be a part of my club. Okay, I have no idea what that is, but we will that I've got no idea what that was, and someone putting links, but I've got rid of that comment out of the comments. You wish you were closer, yeah, to go to retreats. Exactly. So Scrap It With Me workshops are a workshop that you can get a kit delivered to your doorstep every month for $95. You get enough supplies to make 3 double page layouts using the suite of products that I choose. You get a pack of designer series paper, a pack of 12 by 12 basic white cardstock. You also get some corresponding colored cardstock. You will get a printed up PDF tutorial, and that will actually come in your kit already printed up, ready to go. And I always suggest to people, I don't even staple them together, because I suggest that you get a folder and with the clear sleeves and pop them in the clear sleeves, a little bit like a scrapbooking album, with the clear sleeves, and actually make a whole album, and you'll have an ideas book. If you subscribe to it, and even if you stay in for like say 6 months, you will have 6 months. You'll get 3 double page layouts every month. For 6 months, you'll have loads of ideas as an idea book as well. So it's a great way to be in it. You can scan that QR code. There's also a link in the description if you wanted to check that out. And someone is trying to ring me at the moment, but I am live, so I can't answer that phone call. I have a 2-day scrapbooking retreat that registration is closing at the end of this week. So if you wanted to come to an in-person 2-day scrapbooking retreat, you will get to do 6 double page layouts. We are using 2 different types of designer series paper, but we are using the decorative trees bundle. So if you already own that bundle, you can choose a different bundle, but you will get the bundle as a part of that scrapbooking retreat. Now, I did have a question asked to me yesterday. Would I do that as a retreat in a box? And yes, I can actually do this one as a retreat in a box. You will just have to pay an extra $25 after you register. You can actually choose to register and do the in-person one, and then just choose it as a retreat in a box. I don't think I have a retreat in a box option for this one when you go to register, but just register like normal, and I would be more than happy to just give you some details on my bank details to do the other $25 for postage. Good morning, Maureen. Lovely to see you. Oh, thank you, Ellen. Ellen says I'm a great teacher. I hope that's what you get from what I do, because I absolutely love sharing my love of crafting with others. We have a December card buffet as well. So this one is an in-person event. I do not do this as an event by mail, simply for the simple fact there is no PDF. There is nothing else included other than you come here and you have an in-person crafty experience. So I still have spots left in that December Christmas card buffet. It's going to be on Sunday, the 1st of December. And if you haven't started your Christmas crafting, come and hang out at the December Christmas card buffet, and you will at least walk away with 8 beautiful Christmas cards when you're finished. So it costs $50 to come. You get a light lunch, you get tea and coffee and snacks, and you generally just have a good time hanging out with crafty people, because that's what I'm about. I'm about the crafty gatherings and hanging out and crafting with other people. So that's why I hold my classes and what I do. I have opened up registration for my 2-day February craft retreat. It is on the 22nd and 23rd of February. It costs $220 to attend in person. You can actually buy this one as a retreat in a box. So if you live somewhere that's not local to me and can't come to my retreat, you can actually get a retreat in a box. Now, I had an overwhelming response to my December Christmas craft retreat, and I can tell you my February craft retreat, you are going to love it. It's going to be brand new product out of the new mini catalog. It's going to be celebration stuff. It's going to be absolutely epic. So if you want to come to a really, really awesome 2-day paper craft retreat, you don't have to entertain yourself. I am telling you, if you come to my retreat, I entertain you for the whole 2 days. You have pre-designed projects, you have cutting measurements, you get a PDF showing you exactly how to do things. I will choose a bundle when I get to see the catalog, and when I get to do my pre-order, I will make the choice as soon as I possibly can and tell you what bundle. You always get a stamp and die bundle as a part of your retreats. So my scrapbooking retreats, my paper craft retreats, my card making retreats, you will always get a stamp and die bundle as a part of your goodie bag. So that designer series paper, cardstock, ribbon, embellishments, everything you need to be able to create your gorgeous 8 projects. So you can scan that QR code there, or you can use the link in the description. All right, I think that's enough that I need to say. if you are international and you would love to support my business, you can actually shout me a coffee. So that QR code there on the screen, you can actually scan that QR code when you're watching. You can be watching the replay back later on. You can scan that QR code and you can donate to my channel. And that actually, it says shout me a coffee. So you can donate whatever amount you would like. So if you would like to support me financially with my business, then by all means, for my international viewers, you can actually support my stream by shouting me a cup of coffee. So that's about all I have for you. So you can scan that QR code if you would like to do that. Okay, let's get to crafting, because I know that's what you're here for. I know that you are here to watch what I have in store for you in my next edition of my Santa's workshop. So as you can see here, I have an array of products that I'm going to be using, and it is going to be a really fun project. I'm telling you, you're going to love this project because I'm just going to do something a little bit different. All right, so I decided to use my favorite colors. So I've got the cherry cobbler and gold ribbon, so I'm going to be using that as my ribbon embellishment. I've got some beautiful gold cardstock here. I'm using the Peaceful Season. The reason why I'm using this is this die is fantastic. So we have a shadow die that's going to cut out the word Christmas, and we also have the intricate word die that goes in that shadow die. So it's really, really great for doing some spectacular headings, titles on the front of your cards. This would be fantastic for scrapbooking as well. If you have a Christmas layer, popping that that Christmas word in as well. So I wanted to showcase, I don't use this very often, but I wanted to showcase this for you. I'm going to use the double-sided adhesive sheets that we have. So I want to cut the word Christmas out of the gold, and I want to cut the shadow out of the cherry cobbler. So I'm using my favorite color combination. I've also got this gorgeous embossing folder that comes with this suite, and it's got these beautiful trees. So I'm going to show you something really special with embossing with that. So first of all, I want to show you these adhesive sheets. We can actually peel the backing off this like so. Now, what I do like to tend to do is stick a little bit of this on the back of my gold, and then I'm going to tear the other backing sheet off. So I'm just going to line that up, that it's going to line up on there and stick down. Okay, so now with this backing piece, I can actually fold that back because I don't like to get my fingers on the glue very much. I like to be able to try and keep it as free as I can. And I'm just going to add that there. So now we have adhesive sheets on the back of that gold strip. So now when I actually put my gold on there and I cut that out, it's going to have adhesive on the back of this word. So it's an intricate die, so it saves playing around with trying to get glue on the back of it, especially when you're using gold, because gold, if you put glue on your gold and smudge it, you can see exactly where your glue's been on that gold foil. So you've got to be really careful with that. I'm also going to cut out the word Christmas, the shadow. I'm going to use that out of my layer that's going to go under the front. So I'll just show you the things that I have cut ahead of time just to save a little bit of time. So I've cut my card base as usual at 5 3/4 by 8 inches. I've cut an insert to go on the inside at 5 1/2 by 3 3/4. I've cut my cherry cobbler layer at 5 1/2 by 3 3/4, and I've cut this one here at 5 3/8 by 3 5/8. So I've cut it 1/8 of an inch smaller than my cherry cobbler layer. And thank you to the ladies that actually ordered my card templates from yesterday. Thank you very much. And I'm sure that once you see my never fail method of how to do your layers, you'll have no problem whatsoever. So remembering, when we're going to do a layer like this in behind, we are actually able to cut out that shadow die out of that layer, because this one's going to go over the top and no one's going to see it. But we're going to do something special with this one over the top. So I'm going to okay, I'm going to pop this one. I've got my embossing folder for a start, so let's do the die cutting afterwards. I'm going to do the embossing first. I want to emboss these gorgeous trees on the front of this card. Am I going to do it this way? I think I'm going to do it this way. Okay, I was going to do it that way. No, I like it better that way. We get more of the trees, I think, this way. So let's do a portrait style card. So I'm making this up as I go. All right, so I'm going to do a portrait style card. I've got my paper in my embossing folder. I'm going to bring in my cut and emboss machine. Now, it's very important that when you are using an embossing folder to use the right combination with your cut and emboss machine. This cut and emboss machine is fantastic. The pressure is fantastic all the way through this machine. We used to have the Big Shot machines, and the Big Shot machines used to have very little pressure on the middle, on the inside part of your plates. It only had pressure on the two outside parts and a lot less pressure on the inside. Our cut and emboss machine has pressure all the way through. So it's super, super fantastic with the amount of pressure that it has. Now, when you go to do anything with your cut and emboss machine, you can look at your base plate and it can tell you the combinations, because this is one thing that people struggle with. Every time they go to do it, I don't know what plates to use. It is all here. It is written on all of our plates that you can see exactly what you need to do. When it says here die cutting, this is for die cutting. So number 1 is for using with thin dies, okay? So this is the die cutting combination. So it tells you, and every plate is numbered. We have numbers on our plate, so it tells us every single plate that's numbered, so we know exactly which plates we need to use. It tells us here for die cutting, so using with thin dies, use plate number 1, which is this one. There's another plate which is number 2, which is your thin die adapter, which I don't have out here on my desk, but I will bring it in when we go to cut the others. And then it says number 3 with your cardstock, with your die on top, and then a number 3 on top. So that tells you how to do die cutting. This one here is for embossing, and it says here, using with standard embossing folders, using with 3D embossing folders. Now, the way that you actually find out if it's a 3D embossing folder or if it's a standard embossing folder, check the thickness of your embossing folder. So you can see here, this is fairly thick. This is a 3D embossing folder. If you had a regular embossing folder, it would be half the thickness. It would be just the thickness of like one side of this. Like they're quite thin. You can tell when you pick up an embossing folder, you can feel the thickness in a 3D one. When you pick up a regular embossing folder, it will feel really thin. So you will feel the difference, okay? And if you are unsure, do the combination for a regular embossing folder first. If you don't have enough pressure, then it tells you that you probably need the combination for a 3D one. So the 3D one, so the regular ones, you just use your number 1 plate, which is this one. And you use your 2 number 3 plates, which is your cutting pads, and with your embossing folder in between, and that's how it embosses. So the only thing that you do with that one is you take away that thin die adapter. This one here is for 3D embossing. You're going to use your number 1 plate. You're going to use your grey number 4 plate and your embossing folder. And you can see the way the embossing folder is, it has the fold up this way that it's going to go through the machine first, and the open end down this way with your cardstock in between. Now, it's really important that when you put your embossing folders through, that you do your fold going through first, and that you only go through one way. Do not go back the opposite way. So when you are running your embossing folders through, never ever go forwards and backwards. Only go forwards through, and that is it. Okay, so we're going to place our embossing folder with the fold going through the machine first. We're going to place our number 4 plate on top, and then we're going to roll that through. We're only going to roll through one way. We're going to roll through forward that way, and that is all we're going to do. We are not going to bring it back. Okay, the reason why we're not going to bring it back is if that is not really if it's not folded exactly straight, then when we bring it back, you can crack your embossing folder across the top, and you don't want to do that. You can actually physically crack it along this fold. I have seen it happen so many times. Also, if you don't put that plate on top, you will find that your embossing folder will open up like a duck's bill. It will all curl up and open up like a duck's bill. That's because you're not putting that plate on top. You really need to make sure you put that plate on top. Now, the reason why I stress so much about that embossing is, and I'll show you that gorgeous tree embossed look. Okay, so we've got that gorgeous tree embossed look there. The reason why I stress so much about that is I find time and time and time again, even people that are demonstrators that are not embossing the correct way with their machines, they're either wrecking their embossing folders or they're wrecking their machines. So you don't want to do that. Okay, so now we're going to do die cutting. So we're going to have number 1 plate. We're also going to have number 2 plate here. And we're going to have 3 number 3s. Now, you may look at my number 3 plate and you may say, wow, look at that plate. It's because I use my plate and the die is cut down into the plate. It's totally normal to have a plate looking like that when it has been used a lot of times. I never, ever use a new embossing plate, cutting pad, until that one has totally been destroyed. Okay, so there's a lot of use left in that plate just yet. Now, I'm going to pop my gold on there with my Christmas word there. I'm also going to pop my layer with my Christmas shadow die on there. And we're going to cut both of those out at the one time. And that is going to give us our word Christmas for the front. Now, for this, I can go backwards and forwards because we're die cutting. So it's totally okay to go backwards and forwards when you're die cutting. Just don't go backwards when you are actually using your embossing folders. If you can just remember that, that is the best thing to do. So we're going to have, there's our Christmas shadow die. We're going to still use this. We're not going to throw that away because we're going to use that underneath. And we have our word Christmas cut out here. And it's going to have the adhesive sheet on the back. All right, so the next fun thing, and I just lost my die down there. The next fun thing that we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of a fun thing here with this embossed layer. And this is what I think, you can do this a couple of different ways. Now, the reason why I'm doing it the way I'm doing it today, you can actually use Versamark in your embossing folder if you want to. I particularly don't like to do that because I like to have, I like to keep my embossing folders clean, and you would have to wash out your embossing folder. And of course, Versamark really, it's sticky. It's sticky and it's very hard to remove from things. So I tend to not want to put it into my embossing folder. Okay, so you can do it a different way, like what I'm going to do now. So I'm going to take my Versamark ink. So first of all, I'm going to do my embossing buddy over the front of this embossed layer. So I'm just going to rub my embossing buddy over there. Now, our embossing buddy comes, you can get an embossing buddy with your Embossing Additions toolkit. You get tweezers, you get a brush. I'll show you these. You get 2 of these embossing buddies, I think, in the kit. You get tweezers, a brush, and your tray. Now, I love this Embossing Additions toolkit because it is fantastic for keeping all of your embossing powder in one place without getting it everywhere, all over your desk. Years ago, we used to use a piece of paper, like a piece of copy paper, and some people probably still do use a copy paper, but this actually replaces having to do that, and it's so much better. Now, I've got my Wow embossing powder. Now, this is our new embossing powder. It's our new range of embossing powders, and I can tell you it's absolutely stunning, so bright, so vibrant. But our embossing powders come in a 3-pack. So they come in silver, gold, and copper, I think it is. And then they also come in, so this is the metallics set, and this is the basic set. So the basic set comes with black, clear, and white. Okay, so they come in 3. I know we would love for them to come separately, and we can sandbox that with Stampin' Up and try to get them to convince them to sell them separately, but we sell them in a 3-pack. Now, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take my Versamark ink. So our Versamark ink is a clear, sticky watermark ink. Okay, I'm actually just going to drag my Versamark lightly over my trees. I'm hoping this is going to work and I'm not going to get it over the rest of the cardstock, but I'm just carefully trying to drag it over the trees, and I'm hoping we are going to get the look that I want. Okay, so now I'm going to add my embossing powder to where I've just dragged that Versamark ink pad over my trees, and you're going to see what's going to happen. Okay, can you see what's happened? Okay, so we've got Versamark on our trees. Now I do have a little bit of a bit of a rugged straight line there, so I'm just going to brush a little bit with that. Brush a little bit away. So this is where the brush comes in handy. Brush a little bit away where you don't want it to be. So if you've got embossing powder sitting somewhere where you don't really want it to be, then you can brush it off. But you can see this is going to give us, and I'm going to maybe try, I was a little bit scared about, no, I think that's going to be all right. Let's just go with that. All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use our heat tool. So our heat tool we use on heat level number 2. So we have 2 levels on our heat tool. We have a level 1 and a level 2. We're going to use it on level 2. We're going to wait for it to heat up a little bit. Now I'm going to add heat from underneath, and you're going to see this gorgeous wow. And I mean, this is where you should be using your tweezers. Hang on, and I get the tweezers like I'm supposed to be using so I don't burn my fingers. That's the idea of the tweezers. Here we go. We can hold it. Okay. Now I'm going to heat from underneath, and you're going to see that gorgeous gold appear on these trees. So how awesome is this? You're bringing out some of that embossing on that dry embossed tree. So you could get a much more obvious look if you wanted to put it in the embossing folder, if you want to clean out your embossing folder like that. I'm quite happy with how much this is actually going to put on my trees. And I could go back in if I wanted to and add a little bit more embossing. I could add a little bit more Versamark again, like after I've already done this, I could go back in and add a little bit more on that top section if I wanted to, but I think I'm going to be quite okay with how much it's done. And then what I like to do is just when I'm finished, go over the top a little bit to make sure you've got all of that heat embossed and good to go. And you can see there, we now have those embossed trees, but we've got some gold on them as well. Okay, so I could, if I wanted to, I could physically go back in and add a little bit more. So if I want to be that scary? Let me see. Could go in and add a little bit more on those sides there. A little tiny bit more up here to take away that straight look. And a little bit more on there. More on the tip. We'll see what that comes out like. We can add a little bit more. Okay, the other thing what I want to do now too is I want to put a gold edge around this as well. So I'm going to, with my embossing pad, my Versamark pad, I'm going to add some around the outsides. And this is going to, instead of using a gold layer, so a gold foil layer, this is how you can cheat if you don't have any gold foil around. You can physically use your Versamark and get an edge around your layer. Okay, so let's do that. All right, let's bring this back in. Let's dunk it back into our embossing. Oh, I'll do that. Okay. And this gives a little bit more of a rustic type of look to the edge of your layer. Okay. And I want to tip a little bit more over where we've done that tree to see if we can get some more on those bits that I missed before. Okay. Let me see. All right, I'm just going to add a little bit of brushing there to get a few of those bits off. Okay, I'm ready to heat that again. Just going to heat this side over here. So you can see here I've got a little bit more on that side of that tree, which is really nice. Going to give us a little bit more of a gold edge. Okay, once I've got that heated up, I can grab hold of it with my tweezers then, which I've got that edge done there. Okay, now I'm right. What a great idea, Virginia. Yeah. So so you can physically get a different look by just dragging some Versamark. You can actually get, we don't sell them, but you can actually get a Versamark pen if you wanted to be more detailed of where you put that gold. You could physically color in those pieces on that tree with your Versamark pen and get more of a look. But I wanted a really rustic looking, like a more like a, I don't know, like a vintage type of look is what I was going for. So I'm just adding a bit of heat to all of that Versamark that we put around the edges. Making sure we've got those extra bits that we've done on our trees done. Put a bit more there on the bottom and a bit up that edge. Okay, I think that's it. So you can see we've got a really rustic looking couple of trees, all right? And then the beauty of this is in this awesome, our awesome embossing additions tool tray, we can then put it all back into, and I just spilled it out over the side because I was a little bit eager. But we can pop it all in. I'm just going to drag my glass mat over here and I'm going to shake that into my tray so I can collect it. Okay, so I didn't put it on the floor, and we can then pop that in there too. And you can physically with your brush just brush it all down out of there, because sometimes the static grabs hold of it. But there you have it. How awesome is that? To be able to get that gorgeous embossed look. Okay, so when I seen it online, I was like, that is superb, doing that with those trees. That is just a great idea. So I was like, I want to do that. All right, so we have that. What did I do with my gold cutout word? Did anyone see where that went? Have I lost it? No, it's not there. It is not here. It's not here. Seriously? How can I lose that? It's not there. Did I put it in here? Did I put it in here? No. Oh, is it still in my die? It is still in my die. There you go. I put the die away and it's still in the die. It's okay. Crisis averted. I found it. You know, sometimes people say, you know, that how I lose things in a video. You have no idea when you're throwing things over towards the side to get things out of your way. to try and move on to the next step of your card. You have no idea how much of a mess we get in. And I know that all you do is you see what's on the screen, but we are physically in a mess beside us here over to the side. All right, so let's get on to creating this card. Card Craze is saying that you can also buy a platform shim adapter plate as online exclusive. Well, there you go. When you buy your machine, you get all of the plates. So if you were up for a brand new die cutting machine, cut and emboss machine, you will get everything that you need in your die cutting machine. So you get that gray plate, you get all of the cutting pads, you get the number 1 and the number 2 plate all in your machine. You're making me nervous with that powder beneath the heat gun. Powder beneath the heat gun. Oh, because I had powder there. Yeah, but I heat from underneath. It's all good. Oh, well, I did heat on top, but yeah, it didn't go everywhere. It's all good. All right, so let's adhere this one to that. Now, when I've actually used embossing and heat embossing, I like to use a stronghold glue to be able to adhere this layer down. Now, the reason behind that is you've done some dry embossing with your embossing folder. You've also done some heat embossing with your heat gun. So therefore, your cardstock is not sitting really, really flat, okay? So you can see when you look at this, my cardstock is not flat. It's curled in different areas. It's not like a nice flat sheet of cardstock like you would normally get, okay? So because it's curled in different areas, I like to use a stronghold glue to glue it down onto this flat card base because you'll find that, card layer, because you'll find that then it will sit nice and flat when it's adhered to a flat piece of cardstock. So I'm just going to eyeball that up, get that to sit, and then once you press it down with that stronghold glue, it then tends to make it look nice and flat on that piece of cardstock. So that's just a tip that I've found over the years that has helped me because there's nothing worse than when you make a card and it looks like it's all warped and wiggly because you've been using heat and you've been embossing. All right. Okay. So we have that. Now, of course, I'm going to use some of that gorgeous red and gold ribbon. So we're going to wrap some red and gold ribbon around because like cherry cobbler and cherry cobbler and gold, isn't it just looking stunning? All right, so I'm going to wrap that ribbon around the bottom here. So I'm just going to add some Seal Plus onto the back of my cherry cobbler layer, and then I can wrap the ribbon around and adhere it into that Seal Plus, and the workings of my ribbon get hidden in behind that layer on my card. So we're going to wrap that around and we're going to press it into there. Okay, so I'm going to trim that. Okay, so we've got our gorgeous trees. We've got our lovely ribbon wrapped around. Now let's move on to this awesome die cut that we have here. So we have our word Christmas, and we also have, we have our shadow, and we also have our word Christmas. So when I pull this word Christmas out of here, and I'm going to make sure that I don't lose the dot because the dot is still in my die. So I'm going to leave that in my die. You can see there I've still got the dot in the die. I'm going to leave that in the die. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel back. We have that adhesive sheet on the back here. So I'm going to try just even with my take a pick. I don't use the adhesive sheets very often, but sometimes they come in handy. So I'm going to peel that back. Okay, and you're going to see that we've then got that Christmas die that has a sticky background. So I'm just going to carefully pull that off because when we do this and it's a small word, the word gets a little bit stretchy, okay? So sometimes it's, I like to pull it all off and go for it. Some people might like to just pull sections of it off and do it that way. But I actually tend to like to pull it all off and just go for it with my word on that shadow because you can ease that word onto the shadow by lightly pressing it and then easing it on to where it needs to go. Okay, so I'm just going to pull all of that backing off. Okay, Now what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to ease this word onto here. So I'm going to get my C lined up first, which I've got the C lined up. I'm then going to line up my H. Then I'm going to line up my R in the right position, which is there. I'm going to line up my I. I'm going to try and get it unstuck off my hand. Okay. Now I'm going to line up the S where it needs to be and the T. Okay. Now, I mean, I would normally use, you all know, I would normally use my sponge and my silicone mat, but I wanted to showcase this because everyone says to me, why do you not use the adhesive sheets? And there you go. I just used the adhesive sheets and I've now got that glued on there. Now, I will hopefully be able to get, okay, I've got the backing off that dot. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to line that Christmas up over the top, and I'm just going to push that dot for the top of the eye. So I've taken the backing off. It's still in the die. I'm just going to push it down like that and take the die away, and bam, I have my dot on my eye. Okay. So if you're trying to line that up, you could use your adhesive sheets and line it up like that. But if the dot stays in your die, it's really easy to do it that way. All right. So we have that happening there. All right. So let's pop this layer up onto the front of our card with some dimensionals. Once again, I'm going to use my handy dandy take your pick tool to put my dimensionals on my card. Whoops, till I did that. Okay, so you can pick up your dimensionals and pop them on your card like so. Handy way of being able to use your take your pick. If you struggle with trying to get those pesky dimensionals off your sheet, the take your pick tool comes in very, very handy for that. And then we will actually use the take your pick tool to collect our backings that we don't want to go all over our house and end up in areas where you wonder how in the world those dimensional backings got there. All right, so I'm just going to take them off. And then as you can see, I've collected them all on my take your pick tool, and I can then take them all and put them in the garbage bin and they don't go all over the place, which is fantastic. All right, so we're going to line that one up on the front of our card. Okay, so how I line it up, I put my 2 pointer fingers in underneath. I have hold of it with my 2 thumbs. I hover over and I stand up. I'm standing up right at the very moment, nearly over the top of this card to be able to line it up on the card base where I want it to get even borders all the way around. I push down with my 2 thumbs and pull my 2 pointer fingers out, and then I can press it into place. Okay. You know, you would stop it up if you did it that way. I'd stick the sponge and the glue. Yep. Exactly, Janet. I agree. I like my sponge idea and the craft silicone mat. All right, so now I'm going to pop that up on the front here, and I think I want to pop it up, and I want to pop a bow under here because you all know me with my bows. I like to have a bow. I haven't done the inside yet. Let's actually stamp something on the inside. Let's see what we have here. So we've got some gorgeous sentiments here that I think could be beautiful for the inside. Wishing you all things that warm your heart and lift your spirits. Friends and family are a true gift of Christmas. Let's do that one. Friends and family are a true gift of Christmas. That one. I love that. Now, I did say maybe I might bring in the Peaceful Evergreens to stamp on the inside. I'm going to show you a cheating trick. We'll use the Peaceful Evergreen. I'm going to show you a cheating trick of being able to, I'm going to grab my cherry cobbler ink. Oh, do I not have cherry cobbler ink there? Yes, I do over there. I'm going to use cherry cobbler ink, and I'm going to use what I call my cheating tool to look like I'm going to use some gold. I'm going to use some crumb cake. I'm going to bring in my crumb cake ink. All right, I'm going to use cherry cobbler for the sentiment, so we will stamp that in cherry cobbler there. Cool way to place the dot, Maureen. I know. Oh, and I just got cherry cobbler on that, so let's turn that over. Somehow I got cherry cobbler on my fingers. So we will, there's always two sides to cardstock, so it's always nice that you can turn over two sides and use the other side of the cardstock. I think it's because there's ink all around my ink pad. It's a bit leaky. All right, so let's grab, I think I might take just the little tree out of here, this small tree. Do we want to do that, or do we want to do it? No, yeah, I'm going to do that one. Okay, so I'm just going to take the small tree, and then my cheating way of doing this is using crumb cake ink can tend to look like gold, even though I don't want to actually heat this inside part because I don't want it to curl up and warp. So I'm going to actually use my crumb cake ink, and you can see it can look like gold. Doesn't it just look like gold? It can tend to blend in and look like gold, even though it's not gold embossing. Now I'm just going to grab an old baby wipe just to wipe that off so I don't get it on the back of my card. So we have some beautiful trees there on the inside. We have a gorgeous sentiment for the inside of our card. And I just remembered I didn't even go live on Instagram. I forgot about my Instagram, peeps. Sorry about that, Instagram. All right, so now I'm going to adhere that on the inside of my card with some liquid glue. So I always love to use liquid Tombow when I'm doing layers like this, especially on the inside of the card, just to be able to have that wiggle room and get the borders all nice and neat all the way around. Okay. So we've got that on the inside for the inside of our card. So friends and family are a true gift of Christmas. All right. So now for the front, I want to pop this up on the front because I think it will look really, really nice popped up on the front. So let's grab some dimensionals, and I'm probably going to use some minis on this one. And this is where you take a picture. I struggle with mini dimensionals. Who else struggles with mini dimensionals, trying to pop them on the back of something because they're so little? I'll be the first one to say, little chubby fingers. And I have a hard time trying to get those mini dimensionals either off the packet for a start and then onto whatever I want to put it on. Now, mini dimensionals are great when you've got something a little bit more detailed. You don't want to be trying to cut the dimensionals up and trying to piece them around. Now, I think for the C, I'm going to probably cut. This is another trick that I do. I'm going to probably cut a little bit on that edge, and this will give me a narrow piece to possibly put on my C. Let's try and get that bit off. I'm now going to struggle with trying to get the backing off there. So let's put that on this part of the C. Okay. So it gives us a nice narrow bit there, but it's still going to pop and hold up that C on the Christmas. All right. Okay. So we're then going to use our Take Your Pick tool again. Hello, Debbie from Michigan. Lovely to see you. Debbie, are you a part of Rhonda Wade's team in Michigan or Michelle Litwiller in Michigan? Just wondering. I have some friends from Michigan. All right. So I am going to, so just remember, you can earn this kit for free by placing a qualifying order from the 11th of November 2024 through to the 26th of November 2024. So for the 12 episodes of my Santa's workshop, you will get one of each of the designs and a free kit sent out to you if you spend $150 or more. I will pop up my shopping you must use the host code. So I'm just going to pop that up on the screen. So you can scan that on the screen and that will take you straight through to my online store. If you've loved anything that I have done, any of the products that I'm using, I've got a description list in the show more box down below on YouTube of all of the products, a supply list of all of the products that I've used here today. And on Facebook, you can also see it in the description of the video. So anything that I've used here today, you can purchase in my online store, and you may be able to earn one of those qualifying orders and earn your kit for free for 12 gorgeous Christmas projects. Who would not want 12 Christmas projects for free? Okay, Jill Castile Blanchett, Green Thumb Stampers. Okay, no worries. I was just wondering who you were signed up under. All right, so I'm going to, just because I know a few people in Michigan, that's all. They may be a part of the wider team. So I'm just going to pop that gorgeous bow down the bottom there. Doesn't that bow just set that off? I think it's gorgeous. All right. Now, of course, we need some bling on here because I think it's screaming out for a bit of bling. So let's possibly use my favorite, which are the Drucy gems, because I've got sheets and sheets of them here because I love them. Let's use these. Actually, I might use the smaller ones. I might use one large. We might go here and a little one, and possibly a little one just up in there. How awesome is that? And then we all know what's going to finish it off, don't we? Anyone can guess it? Anyone wants to put it into the description? I'm sure you all know what I'm going after now. So, I mean, we've got gorgeous bling with the gold, but I think we can also bling it up just a tad little more, of course, with our Wink of Stella. I use Wink of Stella on every single thing that I do. There we go. Yep. See, Card Craze knows. Debbie knows. Bit of wink on there, bit of wink on the inside, because it just makes it so much better. I don't know. Any card needs to have glimmer and shine, doesn't it? Look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. Okay, there we go. And there you have project number 3 out of my Santa's workshop. So as I said, you can earn this kit for free by placing a qualifying order. Just remember, we do have that awesome seasonal sale that's happening at the moment. So a seasonal sale is a really, really good time to possibly think about joining my Wild Heart Crafters. If you want to be a part of a crafty community, you want to get your products at a discounted rate, then by all means feel free to click on or scan that QR code, or you can click on my Join Now link in the description down below and be a part of the #1 team in Australia. Sorry, I can't. I'm still on cloud 9. I think it's awesome to be able to reach that #1 level, as I'm #1 demonstrator in Australia. Sometimes I pinch myself to actually think that it is actually happening. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for your support. Thank you for hanging out with me and taking time out of your day. If you're watching the replay, please feel free to comment. I love going back and responding to the comments. As you can see, a gorgeous, gorgeous card. And try that technique. Try that using a little bit of Versamark over the top and popping some beautiful gold embossing over the top of an dry embossed image. So thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that. I will see you all again tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. for day 4 of